नहमदुहु व नुसल्ली व नुसल्लिमु अला सय्यदिना व मौलाना मुहम्मदिन रसूलिहिन नबिय्यिल अमीनिल मकीनिल हनीनिल करीमिर रऊफिर रहीम। अम्मा बाद फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम। बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। वकज़ालिक जअलनाकुम उम्मतन वसतन लितकूनु शुहदाअ अलन्नास वयकूनर रसूलु अलैकुम शहीदा वमा जअलनल क़िब्लतल्लती कुन्त अलैहा इल्ला लिनअलम मन यत्तबिउर रसूल मिम्मन यन्क़लिबु अला अक़िबैहि व इन कानत लकबीरतन इल्ला अलल्लज़ीना हदल्लाह व मा कानल्लाहु लियुदीअ ईमानकुम इन्नल्लाह बिन्नासि लरऊफ़ुर रहीम। सदक़ल्लाहु मौलाना अज़ीम। Respected shuyukh and scholars and my dear brothers and sisters, an honorable audience, Alhamdulillah Ta'ala, it is indeed an occasion of pleasure having this beautiful audience, get together, conference, where hundreds of brothers and sisters, including very prominent and respectable shuyukh and scholars, all of us are here together to rethink on the subject of restoring balance in our life, in our thought, in our ideas, in our conduct and behavior, and in each and every aspect of our society which can be influenced by our efforts. And I hope he must have given you a very comprehensive, deep and substantial understanding of the subject. And he must have elaborated many important aspects and dimensions of this subject. There is no doubt that our life as a whole has gone out of balance in each and every aspect of our life. We have become imbalanced personalities. But instead of repeating those aspects which have already been discussed, I would like to take some new dimensions in the light of Quran and Sunnah, in the seerah of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I would like to discuss finally the ways and means how to restore balance in our life, how to bring the balance back which is lost, and how to present a balanced, moderate, and ideal life in front of the modern world, in front of younger generations in East and West, where the image of Islam, image of the teachings of Quran, image of the conduct of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, an image of the message of Quran and Sunnah has been distorted. Balance and moderation has disappeared, and extremism has taken its place. in the present world, because of certain wrong interpretations, misrepresentation of Islam, some wrong and condemnable activities which are being carried out by some violent people in this world in the name of Islam. A speedy process of radicalization of the Muslim youth and brainwashing them and turning them into terrorists. All this phenomena has created an image of imbalanced religion or imbalanced community. This is our responsibility, not only to remove the imbalance from our own lives, thoughts and ideas and behaviors, but to remove this misunderstanding from the minds of the people all over the world, irrespective of their faith, creed, race, culture. This is why this subject has been chosen and we are sitting here today to ponder on it. I'm going to start this subject just to explain briefly the significance of balance in our life. Because we are moving towards two ends. And Islam was revealed and Holy Prophet ﷺ was raised. Rather, all prophets and messengers of Almighty Allah, they were raised to create a practical balance in human life and to bring them towards the middle course of the life so that they may get rid of extremities. Our thoughts are going towards two different ends, whether religious or secular. If anybody is religious, a practicing Muslim, the teachings which he is getting normally, these teachings are by and large taking him towards an end, towards an extreme. And the secular atmosphere and environment who takes our younger generation away from religious and spiritual practice, they are also taking them towards extreme end. So we are becoming imbalanced and extremists in our thoughts, in our ideas, religious and or secular. Whether we think of the worldly affairs, earthly affairs, or we think about the ethereal affairs, life, world, here and after. We always think in extremistic views. Whether we are indulged in religious practices or we are indulged just in family matters, in societal matters, in business matter, whether we are indulged in just in earning money. Any style of life we are adopting, we are going towards ends, totally being cut off of the other part of the story. As if we have forgotten totally the middle course of our life, which was the basic theme of Islamic teachings, which was the basic and peculiar and salient character of the Ummah of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Al-Ummatul Muhammadiyya, as declared by Holy Quran. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. And O Muslims, in the same way, we have made you the best ummah, the best community. Why? Because you are fair to all with a tolerant, moderate and balanced outlook. You have been given a balanced ideology. You have been given a balanced deen, a system of life. You have been given a balanced philosophy of life, a balanced package of teachings, a balanced system of practice, a balanced code of conduct and behavior. Because of this great balance in each and every theological, ideological, practical, cultural, moral, spiritual, secular, religious, in every aspect of your life, since you have been made balanced and tolerant and moderate, this balance has made you the best of the communities in this world. Because all beauty lies in balance. So that you may bear witness to the people. You may be able to lead the people. So this blessing of Almighty Allah, that Ummah of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will bear witness to the people, on the mankind, this has been blessed just due to their character of being a balanced and moderate community. And if we lose this character of our community, then we lost all blessings of Almighty Allah and our salient features, significant qualities which are related and which are based on this quality. And then it has been stated, don't forget that our exalted messenger, Muhammad, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he bears witness to you. In the same way, the same concept has been mentioned in various aspects of our lives. This balance was mentioned in connection of the basic character of the Muslim community. The balance which we have lost and which we need to restore in our life in the present times. Again in Surah Al-A'raf, verse 31, and the first verse which I have quoted, that was from Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 143. Now Al-A'raf, that is Surah number 7, verse 31. Again Almighty Allah addresses the children of Adam. Ya Bani Adam, khudhu zinatakum inda kulli masjid, wa kulu washrabu wa la tusrifu, innahu la yuhibbul musrifin. O children of Adam, dress up decently every time you offer prayer. Just look into it. How beautiful is our deen, and how decent is the divine message of Quran. And again there lies a beauty of balance. He says, khudhu zinatakum inda kulli masjidin. Dress up decently. So dressing up decently according to Islam is never against simplicity. Here lies a beauty. Every time when you offer the prayer, it means Almighty Allah likes you to be dressed decently when you appear and stand in front of Him. And He wants you to continue the same standard of your life when you go outside. So the community, the Ummah of Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives a beautiful message about them to the people. They are neat and clean people. They dress up nicely. They are cultured. They are civilized. They are educated. The people may love to sit with you, to deal with you, to behave with you. This is the outer aspect of our personality, which Almighty Allah wants us to clean it, cleanliness in our outer self. And just imagine the Lord who wants cleanliness in our outer self. What would be His wish regarding cleanliness of our inner self? And this aspect is also mentioned in the same verse. You can just concentrate on it. 2 words, Khuzu zinatakum, dress up decently. This is the beauty of our outer self. Inda kulli masjidin, when you stand in front of me and you prostrate in front of yourself in front of me and you worship me, so worshipping and prostrating yourself in front of Almighty Allah is something which gives you beauty of your inner self. So He wants to create a balance in the beauty of your outer and inner aspect of personality. In the same way. Then coming to our daily life routine, our eating, our drinking, our social and domestic life, and our biological, fulfilling of our biological needs of our life. He says, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا. Then He says, and eat. Don't keep fasting whole of your life. You should eat. Don't adopt an imbalanced spiritual life as the ancient nations used to do. They thought as if Almighty Allah, we can get closeness, we can get nearness, we can get beautiful spiritual company of Almighty Allah only if we leave eating and drinking, if we just fast for Him. So they thought as if this extreme way of life would lead us to the company of Almighty Allah. And Almighty Allah says, no, my company, my love, my nearness, my closeness, my beauty, my vision does not require you to live an imbalanced life and to leave all kind of eatings and drinking. Go eat and drink, but remain balanced. Eat and drink, but do not spend extravagantly. Do not become imbalanced in eating and drinking. So it means, Almighty Allah says, my company is neither based on eating and drinking, nor based on living, eating and drinking, just fasting throughout their life. Both things can lead you to an end. My company, my vision, my love, my closeness, my obedience, my submission, and becoming my beloved friends, all these blessings depend on the balance of your life, either in eating and drinking or fasting and worshipping. If you create a balance in your spiritual aspect and bodily, secular aspect of your life, this balance will lead you to my company. So it means the balance is the best of the worship. Itself, balance is the best worship, the best pious act, the best spiritual act which leads to the company of Almighty Allah. And then He says, إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. Those who exceed the balanced life, Almighty Allah does not like them. So Almighty Allah does not like an imbalanced life. Again we see in next surah of Holy Quran, that is Surah Al-Isra, Bani Israel, Surah number 18, verse number 29. It is stated, now here the act of charity is being mentioned. Now you can see different angles, whether it is act of worship, it is act of eating and drinking, it is act of dressing, it is act of charity, spending money on the good cause. Each and every aspect becomes beautiful and becomes a pious deed if it is a balanced act. The balance which the ummah has lost. Almighty Allah says, وَلَا تَجْعَلْ يَدَكَ مَغْلُولَةً إِلَىٰ عُنُقِكَ وَلَا تَبْسُطْهَا كُلَّ الْبَسْطِ فَتَقْعُدَ مَلُومًا مَحْسُورًا. Now here an act of charity is being mentioned. And Almighty Allah says, and neither keep your hand tied to your neck, giving nothing to anyone. Don't keep your hands tied to your neck means don't stop yourself from the act of charity, from spending the money for the poor, from spending the money to resolve the economic deadlock of the poor, for spending money for alleviation of poverty, for spending money in order to fulfill the needs of poor. Don't keep yourself tied, your hands tied, one aspect. And nor stretch it wide open, giving away all. And if you want an act of charity, if you want to give your money to the poor or for the noble causes, then don't give it up all, so that nothing remains with you. And again, you put yourself in an economic crisis as a result of the charity. So the charity should be a cause of flourishment. The charity should become the basis of good for other people as well as for yourself. Even the commandment of Almighty Allah is to adopt a balanced way in an act of charity, lest you should sit back blamed and consumed. If you spend all of it, even Almighty Allah has not allowed you to become imbalanced. Does not allow you for an excessive act to transgress the limits even in the act of charity, an act of piety, an act of economic help to others to resolve their deadlock. At this stage, even that act will not become a pious act. It will not become a deed of piety unless it remains balanced. Then we come to same Surah Al-Isra. I'm giving you various examples. Now, next example has been mentioned in connection of the beauty of balance regarding the prayer, the ritual prayers, the mandatory prayers. It is Surah Al-Isra, verse number 110. It is stated in Quran, A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem. وَلَا تَجْهَرْ بِصَلَاتِكَ وَلَا تُخَافِتْ بِهَا وَابْتَغِ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ سَبِيلًا. And recite the Quran in your prayer, neither too loud nor too low, but adopt a balanced course in between the two. Just imagine, now even in the matter of reciting the Holy Quran, Almighty Allah says, don't recite it too loud and don't recite it too low. Adopt the middle, moderate and balanced way in between the two, the middle course. So in recitation of Quran, it becomes a beautiful act with its beauty of being balanced. Then the same idea of balanced has been reinforced in Surah Al-Furqan, Surah number 25 and verse number 67. Holy Quran states, وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا أَنفَقُوا لَمْ يُسْرِفُوا وَلَمْ يَقْتُرُوا وَكَانَ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ قِوَامًا. And those people who are neither on the extreme side of spending nor on the extreme side of not spending, neither extravagant nor miserly spending. So they avoid from both ends, and their spending is based on a balance between the two extremes, بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ قِوَامًا. Their act of charity is based on balance between the two extremes of extravagance and miserliness. So only then the act of charity becomes a pious act. These were a few verses of Holy Quran, and there are many others. I chose only a few for you, just to give various examples related to different aspects of human life, just to elaborate, to illustrate the significance and relevance of balance or restoring balance in our life, in each and every dimension of our life, conduct and behavior, and thought and idea and our ideology. Now, the next aspect in same connection of significance of balance which I am taking now would be very interesting for you. And this aspect is one of those many works, hundreds of works, which would never be found in any of the books in our history of literature. You can understand what I mean. The thing which I am going to relate now is, by the blessing of Almighty Allah, absolutely a new and a creative concept. And that is the balance in human nature. You must have heard this word as far as the heading is concerned. This is not a new thing, but I am talking of the substance which I am going to elaborate. How Almighty Allah has created a balance in human nature. He is the creator of mankind. He is the creator of our nature. He is the creator of our human qualities. He is the creator of our drives. He is the creator of our propensities. He is the creator of our wishes and desires. And He is the creator of our acts and deeds. Since He has created a beautiful balance in our nature, it is an inbuilt and ingrained balance in our nature. So Almighty Allah wants us to become a balanced person. And I have discussed this topic in detail, if anybody wants to read sometimes, in my own book, which I wrote in early 80s. I think it was first published, this my book, in early 80s somewhere, in 1985. The first edition of this book was published in 1985. Its name is Islam in Various Perspectives. Let us try to understand what kind of balance Almighty Allah has created in our nature. Human nature has been created with two phases. Human nature consists of two phases. One is potential nature, the other is actual nature. And the best of creation, ahsanut taqweem, and the best of human being is the one who creates a balance between the requirements of potential nature and requirements of actual nature. He is the perfect man. He is the man which Almighty Allah wants to see. Potential nature is known as al-fitra bil-quwwa, and actual nature means al-fitra bil-fi'l. Potential nature, in fact, it is a harmonized complex of human conscience and a plurality of other drives which are essentially directed towards the pursuit and achievement of the highest ideals of human life, the highest goals of human life, the highest targets of human existence. And these drives and tendencies of our conscience are ingrained in human soul. And it is on the basis of their positive constitution. That's why the man has been given the title of Ahsan Taqweem in Holy Quran. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. He is Ahsanut Taqweem, the best of creation, because of the qualities of its potential nature and not the qualities of the actual nature, just potential nature. Potential nature possesses 4 drives in it. 4. One is distinction between vice and virtue. Every human being possesses an innate drive to distinguish between virtue and vice, to distinguish between good and evil, to distinguish between right and wrong. There is a basic drive in its nature. Good and bad, moral and immoral, noble and ignoble. So there is a basic drive to differentiate between the two. That's why a person, whether he is a Muslim or non-Muslim, he is living in Haramain, he is living in Canada, he is living in America, he is living in Guyana, he is living in Trinidad, he is living in Africa, wherever he lives, in which society he was born, in which particular atmosphere and social environment he was grown up, irrespective of all these social and sociological environments, irrespective of all these environmental and ecological atmospheres. Wherever he was born, wherever he was nourished, wherever he was brought up, whether he was educated, a human being, whatever religion he believes in, he has basically instinct in it. Whether the societies are morally different from our society or they are neutral societies having different ideals, different religions, different cultural values, different norms, different concept. But everywhere these drive, we see they are effectively functioning in every human being. And there is a basic potential everywhere in every person, Mu'min or non-Mu'min, to distinguish between right and wrong. This is a universal acknowledged drive everywhere. This is a foundational stone for the pursuit of moral ideas for every human being. And this phenomenon is mainly governed by inherent constitution of the potential nature in human personality. And Quran states on this subject, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. Now, this is not confined to the Muslims or to the faithful or to believers. Quran says, and the human mind and the human soul and its perfection. And Sawwaha, its balancing perfection. It is from Taswiyah. Perfection based on balancing. So it has been intimated to this soul by inspiration what is vice and what is virtue. Vice is the way of evil. Virtue is the way for good. And he has an inbuilt resistance against evil. And he has an ingrained love and liking for the attainment of moral perfection in its own way. And he has not derived these things from Quran or from Sunnah. He may derive it from Bible, he may derive it from the Hindu books, he may derive it from Jewish literature, or he may derive from no other religious book, just from his human nature. This distinction between vice and virtue is potentially ingrained in his nature. Now, second, important thing which is ingrained in potential nature is acknowledgement of God's existence. Whether a Muslim or non-Muslim, a believer or non-believer, there is a potential inbuilt acknowledgement of God's existence. It can be in any way. Concept may differ from place to place. The idea of God may differ from man to man. But this is the highest noble idea ingrained in the potential nature of man. And this is again a universal phenomenon. In each human society, un-Islamic societies, even atheist societies, people are normally, by large, they are inclined to acknowledge the presence and the relevance and significance of supernatural and supra-rational forces. Supernatural and supranatural forces, even they are helpless to explain by their perceptual standards. They are helpless, unable to explain by their perceptions. They are unable to conceptualize it. They are unable to understand in its actual reality, but they still believe that there is some supernatural and supra-rational force which works at certain times in their life when they feel helpless in this world. They may disagree with your interpretation. They have their own interpretation, but still they believe there is some supernatural power. And this is an undeniable part of their own experience. And if you ask them, they won't be able to explain it or interpret it logically and scientifically, but still they say our heart feels, our soul feels, our spirit feels. They say this is our gut feeling, this is the sixth sense. We feel there is someone higher above all this world of causes and effects. Then they are forced sometimes to rationalize whatever they feel. They rationalize these embodiments of chances. Some people say these are supernatural occurrences. Some may say these are occurrences from superpower. Some may say these are just chances. But where did this chance came from? Why did this chance take place? Where does this chance emerge from? What is the sequence and relevance, logical relevance between these chances and this occurrence? They would have no answer except to say there is something beyond our limits. This realization of existence of something beyond the limits is in fact acknowledgement of the existence of their God and Lord or supernatural power. This is inherent in the nature. And Quran says, why? Why is this? Quran has an answer. Says, وَإِذْ أَخَذَ رَبُّكَ مِنْ بَنِي آدَمَ مِنْ ظُهُورِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ وَأَشْهَدَهُمْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ أَلَسْتُ بِرَبِّكُمْ قَالُوا بَلَىٰ. This is Quran, Surah number 7, verse 172. And when your Lord brought forth from the children of Adam, from their backs, he brought the spirits of the children of Adam from their backs. These were the descendants of Adam, and made them bear witness against their own souls. And he asked, am I not your Lord? They said, yes, you are. We bear witness. So this is the answer of an unanswered question. This is the explanation of an unexplained phenomena. That's why this acknowledgement, realization of the existence of God is potentially ingrained of the nature of every human being. They may give any name whatever they want. And again Quran says, وَإِذَا مَسَّ الْإِنسَانُ الضُّرُّ دَعَانَا لِجَنْبِهِ أَوْ قَائِدًا أَوْ قَائِمًا. And whenever affliction touches a man, he calls on us, whether lying on his side or sitting or standing. Again here the word al-insan is mentioned, not the faithful. Whenever a time of trouble, a time of distress, a time of calamity, a time of uncontrollable situation, troublesome situation arises, and he feels that all other means and ways are totally failed, and there is nobody and no source and no mean here to help me and to bring me out of this disaster and calamity. That potentially ingrained realization of the existence of the Lord comes up at the level of their conscious mind, and he says, "Oh my Lord, please save me. Bring me out of this calamity." He may call to anyone. He may be addressing the Hubal. He may be addressing Lat and Manat and Uzza. He may be addressing any other according to his own perception and conception, which he has perceived and conceived, and which he have through his own means conceptualized in his mind. He may address anyone, but the concept is there. He knows that there is someone beyond all these limits. Again in Holy Quran stated, وَإِذَا مَسَّ الْإِنسَانَ دُرٌّ دَعَا رَبَّهُ مُنِيبًا إِلَيْهِ. And when distress affects a man, he calls upon his Lord, turning to him frequently. The third thing, in the same way ingrained in human potential nature, is the insight into the process of mind. Insight. Basira. It means that every human being is aware of the processes of his mind. And he knows the logical consequence and operative and functional distinction between the acts which he is performing, right or wrong, vice or virtue, good or bad, just or unjust, whatever he is performing, he understands that he is responsible for that. Quran says, Balil insanu ala nafsihi basirah. Nay, man is witness against himself. Surah 75, verse 14. It means man is quite conscious of his desires and their results and their impact on his personality, his thoughts, his actions. And he is conditioned to retain a consciousness of that particular act. And Quran says, Alimat nafsun ma qaddamat wa akharat. Every soul shall know what he has sent before and held back. In spite of this fact, now the fourth thing, since he is consciously able to distinguish between his desires and his right and wrong actions. Number four thing related to it is the sense of human responsibility. Along with it, he also possesses the sense that he is responsible for his acts. Whether he believes in life hereafter or not, there is an ingrained potential sense of responsibility regarding his own acts. This is known as moral responsibility that has been conferred on him during the struggle of his life. He knows that he is accountable for his voluntary acts. Those who are the believers of the philosophy of determinism, and they are apparently reluctant to accept the responsibility of the undesirable behavior and they want to put it on some other divinity. Even those people, in spite of being reluctant and apparently disowning the responsibility of their act, but inward they know this is a self-created deception, and whatever they are committing, they are and they have to be responsible for that. They can't get rid of this sense of responsibility, whatever philosophy they may discuss. But there is an ingrained sense of responsibility in their mind and in their soul. And they know that this is a deception in the name of concept of immunity. Every conscience of every person, unexceptionally, recognizes that he is a moral agent and he is responsible for his all voluntary acts, good or bad, whatever he has committed in connection of anybody else. That's why he knows this is just and this is unjust. He knows this is piety, a good act, and this is an act of tyranny, an act of cruelty, an act of violence. He knows this is fulfillment of the right and this is transgression and this is depriving someone from his right. He knows this, and since he knows this, he knows that he is responsible for all of these acts. That's why Almighty Allah has stated, Fitrat Allah allati fatara an-nas alayha la tabdila li khalqillah dhalika ad-deenul qayyim. This is the nature, potential nature, created by Almighty Allah, in which He has made men, and there is no alteration of Allah's creation. This is the right path, and this is the religion of Islam. So this is one aspect of our nature, potential nature, which leads us towards piety. We would say which leads every human being, which demands human being to travel towards piety, towards goodness, towards perfection, moral perfection, towards morality, towards spirituality. This is the aspect which tries to connect the human personality with heaven, with the divinity. This is the interlink between humanity and divinity. This is the link between our physical existence and spirituality. This is the thing which leads the man towards ahsanut taqweem. This is the quality which leads the man towards becoming or restoring the status of ahsanut taqweem. Now, coming towards the other aspect of nature, that's why Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stated, "Ma min mawludin illa yuladu alal fitra." This is the hadith of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That every single soul, every single child who is born conforms to the true path, and that is the nature. This is the potential nature given to every single soul, whether born in a Muslim family or a non-Muslim family. Now we come to the actual nature. The second aspect of human nature is the actual one. This actual nature again consists of 4 propensities, or I would say 4 categories of propensities, 4 categories of drives. These are the instinctive urges which together constitute the actual nature of human beings. And these 4 instinctual urges or propensities are: number 1, urge for sexual satisfaction. Now this is the actual nature. You can say the opposite side of the picture, negative side of the picture, the second end of the picture. Urge for sexual satisfaction. You can understand, no need to explain it. I will try to save the time for remaining subjects. Number 2, urge for racial preservation. To preserve, protect the race, children, family. Number 3, urge for monetary gains, financial benefits, monetary gains, worldly benefits. for urge for power and status, to retain, to collect, and to gain more and more power and higher and higher status. So these four drives or instinctual urges, when you put together, they make the human man self-centric person. He becomes self-centric. His thinking, his conduct, his behavior, his preferences, his priorities are self-centered. And all this character is determined by these desires, and these are self-regarding desires and conduct. Whereas the potential nature, his potential innate drives, his potential drive results, they make a man, leads the man towards a proper or a pious social conduct. And his actual nature leads the man towards self-regarding conduct. That leads towards isar, sacrifice, the potential nature. And this leads towards greed and lust. So now here arises a conflict between sacrifice and lust. Here arises a conflict between the charity, the instinct of the urge for charity and for accumulation of wealth. Here lies a conflict between working for others and gaining everything for your own self. Here lies a conflict between the positivity of your personality and negativity of your personality. Between your social conduct and purely your lower self-conduct. This creates a duality based on two ends in human nature. But this duality does not restrict a man's freedom of choice. He is still free to choose either of the two. He may go to this end, he may go to this end. He may become just self-regarding, and he may become just sacrificing for others. He may neglect other people, or he may sacrifice his own preferences for other people. So there are two ends. Now, restoring the balance between the two, this makes the man a perfect model of behavior. And if he is able to create the proper balance, and I hear this is the time where I would define what balance is. Here, this would be the point where we have to define what the balance is. Balance is not something to make both ends equal. If you put both things that at equal level, it will create an uncertainty in your personality. This is the basic why our brothers chose this subject and asked me to discuss this for you. If somebody thinks that balance means just to bring both ends at equal level, to give equal weight to both of the attitudes, if you give the both level at equal position, at equal weight, at equal significance, it means you have left the man in a condition of uncertainty. He is neither here nor here. He will never be able to attain a perfection. He would never be able to attain soundness and profoundness of his personality. He would never be able to achieve a specific positive direction in his life, because both things are equal. He can go this way, he can go this way. He would be hanging between the two. So when we say restoring the balance does not mean just putting both ends exactly equal and leaving the man for his own choice, on his own choice. No, there we have to resolve the conflict between these two ends. End of the requirements or end of the demands of potential nature and ends of the demands of actual nature. So we have to create a balance, and balance means to resolve the conflict. There can be 5 ways of resolving the conflict. How many? 5 ways to resolve the conflict. Briefly speaking, if you just concentrate to it, because I won't explain, because there are many other points which I have to explain after that. I will take just very briefly 5 ways to resolve the conflict and to restore the balance. 1, when you understand the potential nature which leads to piety, positive, you can say easily, which leads to positive aspect of your personality. Actual nature which leads to the negative aspects. And Quran mentions the both. Ali Imran, verse number 14. زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينَ وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ الْمُقَنطَرَةِ مِنَ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ وَالْخَيْلِ الْمُسَوَّمَةِ وَالْأَنْعَامِ وَالْحَرْثِ ذَلِكَ مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. Up to here, this is the address to the actual nature of man. Address to the actual nature of man. And now comes a very brief sentence containing an address to the potential nature of man, and that is Wallahu indahu husnul ma'ab. He says, attractive in the eyes of men is the love of things they covet. Women, sons, all these loves are attractive. Heaped up hoards of gold and silver, horses branded, lust of power, this is, for blood and excellence, and wealth of cattle, and well-tilled land, accumulation of wealth. Such are the possessions of this worldly life, and they have been made very attractive to whom? To the actual nature of man. Up to here is an address to the actual nature, instincts of actual nature. And then a beautiful small sentence comes after that, a few words addressed to the potential nature. And that is, God says, Wallahu indahu husnul ma'ab. Oh my people, I have mentioned all kinds of lusts for you. I have mentioned all kinds of greed for you. I have mentioned all kinds of attractions for you. I have mentioned all kinds of instinctive urges which may lead to the lusts. All these propensities which you lead to the lower self, which may lead to the asfalus safilin, which may destroy you, which may take you away from the heights of becoming ahsanut taqweem, which may take you away from the position where angels were asked to prostrate themselves in front of Adam, which may take you away from the highest level of being ashraful makhlukat. All these things, very, very attractive things. This is one side of the picture. And then Allah says, Wallahu indahu husnul ma'ab. But don't see whatever material things are in front of your eyes. Don't get indulged in the things which are just in front of your physical personality, which are appealing to you, which look attractive to you. Allah says, Wallahu indahu husnul ma'ab. But there are some more beautiful things behind the curtain which your physical eyes cannot see, your senses cannot perceive, your ears cannot hear. You can't touch them, you can't smell them, you can't eat them, you can't feel them, you can't see them, you can't hear them, but still they are much more beautiful than all these attractions which are around you in this world. And you are getting lost in these attractions. You are getting lost in these lusts and greeds. And you are getting lost in these lower quality of propensities. Forget about these. I have more beautiful things with me which you are unable to see now living in this world, which you are unable to feel now, which you are unable to perceive now, which you are unable to conceive now.
which you are unable to conceptualize now, if you get away from these things and believe in me, al-Iman bil ghaib, then there is Jannah, there are paradises, there are beautiful lives, beautiful attractions, beautiful beauties, beautiful objects of attraction for you. When you will compare, a time will come in life hereafter, when you will compare between the two, you will say, oh our Lord, we have already known it, and we would have totally rejected all attractions of the world for the sake of these beauties of the divinity. Then he says, not only these beauties which you will find in the Jannah, there is something higher than what can be felt in the Jannah. And that is my ridwanu minallahi akbar. My prayer would be higher than the palaces of Jannah. My prayer would be higher than the beauties of the hoors. My prayer would be higher than the flowing canals and fountains of Jannah. My noor of my prayer would be higher and beautiful than the noor available in the Jannah. So those who want to achieve the Jannah blessings, they will get better than this world. And those who want higher than that, still there would be a place of my Ridwan. They will see my smile, my pleasure. And oh, those who want something higher than my pleasure, I have another higher thing for that. And the people will become mad. Oh our Lord, is there anything higher than Jannah? And is there anything higher than prayer? He said, yes, if you make an agreement with me after this comparison and leave everything and come for the achievement of the highest, then they ask, what is that highest? He says, I will unveil the curtain and I will show the vision of your beauty of my face. You will see my face. Eyes to eyes, one to one. You will keep on visiting me, I will keep on visioning you. Wallahu indahu husnul ma'ab. There is no limit for that. So Almighty Allah has put two things together and left on our free will and free choice what kind of balance we are going to create, what kind of restoration of balance we are going to achieve. So the one way is to follow the urges of potential nature by fully neglecting the actual nature. So this is not desired. This becomes rahbaniyya. I repeat again for you. One way of resolving the conflict is to neglect the requirements of actual nature completely and follow the urges of potential nature. So is this way required by Islam? Tell me. No. This will lead to an extreme. It is known as spiritual extreme. This was rejected by holy prophets. Other way of resolving can be to neglect the demands of potential nature, the positive one, totally, and follow the dictates of actual nature. Would this be a good resolution? Can you tell me? What is the answer? I want to listen from you. To neglect totally the demands of divinity and follow totally the demands of lower self. No. And otherwise, to neglect totally the demands of potential nature, the higher self, and follow totally the actual nature, the lower one. Again, answer is no. Then third is to develop the actual nature, of this world up to a level that it overshadows and controls the potential nature. Again, this way of resolution is no. This will lead the man to a negative side, destructive side. Fourth option would be just to create a balance between the two, to bring them, both of them, at equal level and then leave them, to leave them on the choice of man. Is this the meaning of balance? Islamic concept of balance. Tell me, to uplift the both and put them at equal level and then leave it on the man, his own choice. What does he want? No. This un-Islamic balance would lead him to a state of uncertainty. It would be an indefinite condition, a probable. He would be sometimes this way, sometimes this way. So there would be no stability of character, no stability and firmness and steadfastness of his life. So these are the four things not acceptable. Now there is a fifth way of resolving the conflict. Fifth, resolving the conflict. And that is the only option. And that is to develop the potential nature to a level where demands of actual nature are also fulfilled, but under the control of potential nature. What do you say? Is this a perfect way of resolution or not? Yes, I repeat it again. To develop the potential nature up to an extent that the demands, natural demands of actual nature are also fulfilled within a limit, under the control and guidance of potential nature. So if you create this kind of balance, this is known as positive balance, a directory balance. This is a balance which provides you balance as well as a direction of life. So we need in this time a directive balance of our lives. We need a balance. We don't need just a balance. This was the main theme to explain what is the actual and real concept of balance. This is the concept which we would say Islamic balance, that needs of both sides should be fulfilled in a balanced way. There should be no extremity on either side, but the control and the balance of power, balance of control should remain in the hands of potential nature, so that this balance remains a directive balance. Then this would become a guide. Then there would be no weakness, no instability, no disintegration, no uncertainty of human personality. This will become الَّذِينَ قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهُ ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا. This will create a steadfastness along with balance. And Quran explains the same phenomena in the words, Holy Quran, Surah number 91. Quran says, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. So this is the full concept of the Quran, which I have explained up till now. By the soul and the proportion and order given to it, and its enlightenment as to its wrong and as to its right. Truly, he succeeds who purifies this lower self, and he fails that corrupts it. So all things which lead him to corruption, he discarded, he controls them, so that those demands are fulfilled but without corruption. And he promotes the purificational aspect of his self, that it may become in a controlling position. So to create the potential nature, to give the potential nature the controlling position,
and the actual nature, the controlled position. This directive balance is the balance which we need to restore in our lives, which has lost. The same thing, Almighty Allah. Now the third example on balance. Almighty Allah has created the same kind of directive balance, a positive balance. It is easy to say, a positive balance. It is certain balance, directive balance, positive balance, pious balance, commendable balance, appreciable balance, which leads to the attainment of the higher ideals of human life. Same balance. You see, the whole deen of Islam, and according to Islam, every aspect of human life and beauty of every aspect is based on this positive balance. Now I am going to give you another example. If you could take the notes again, because this point which I am going to discuss now has never ever been discussed by anybody. You won't find in any book in history of our literature, so better to take the notes. Again, Almighty Allah has created another beautiful directive and positive balance in our life, and that is the balance of human personality. Almighty Allah has created our personality based on 8 aspects or 8 phases. There are 8 different phases of our personality. The first aspect of human personality is biological aspect, and Almighty Allah has created again a positive and directive balance within all these 8 phases and aspects of human personality. And if the human personality goes out of balance, the man becomes an imbalanced person, so he loses perfection. First aspect of our human personality is biological aspect. Biological aspect, through this we fulfill our needs of eating, food, dressing, lodging, and all personal, physical, bodily needs which we always keep on fulfilling, and we work to fulfill those needs. These fulfillment of these needs come under the aspect of biological dimension of personality. Easy to understand, no need of explanation. Second aspect of human personality is social aspect. So all those needs which we fulfill or which we work and strive and struggle to fulfill, which are the demands of our societal order. Societal order. Regarding, we get married, there are families, then there are relationships, procurement of generations, children, then education, and all these things in order to fulfill the society, to create a society and to fulfill the needs of a societal order. These things come under social aspect of human personality. So Islam and Quran and Sunnah have ordained and commanded to fulfill all needs which come under the biological aspect of human personality. Islam does not allow us to neglect them. And there are hundreds of verses and ahadith of Holy Prophet which contain the commandments for that. Some of the companions started standing the whole night in front of Almighty Allah and praying. Holy Prophets banned him to do that. He said, Inna li nafsika alayka haqqun. Your body has a right on you. Somebody started fasting every day without breaking. So Holy Prophet ﷺ prohibited him, saying, Inna li nafsika alayka haqqun. If somebody decided not to get married, Holy Prophet ﷺ, and even he was married, he decided not to fulfill the rights of his wife. Holy Prophet said, Inna li zawjika alayka haqqun. Inna li aynika alayka haqqun. Your eyes have a right on you. Your wife has a right on you. Your body has a right on you. So, Islam commands the fulfillment of the needs of biological aspect of our life. In the same way, Islam commands to fulfill the needs of social aspect of our life. In the same way, number 3, Islam commands the fulfillment of the needs of cultural aspect of our life, of personality, cultural aspect of personality. To develop the educational institutions and to receive education, to be educated. Talabul ilmi faridatun ala kulli muslimin wa muslima. It has been made mandatory. Developing the institutions for economy, for earnings, for trade, for business, mutual relations, social relations, civil relations, matrimonial relations, institutionalizing the society, moral relations, transactional relations, financial relations, administrative relations, then governmental relations. So, society is needed to be institutionalized, and all institutions are needed to be fulfilled with their needs to complete the social machinery and setup of the society. These are 3 aspects. Now, the 4th aspect is psychological aspect of our personality. Our psyche and psychological entity in everybody's personality again is based on 3 phases. One is al-jazba, second al-idrak, al-irada, third is al-idrak. Jazba means emotions, sentiments, emotional aspect is in our conscious mind, which makes somebody ruhi and dili. Second aspect is our intention, will. Third aspect is our idrak, perception. Our emotion leads towards love and hatred. Love is based on emotional aspect of our psychological personality. When we take the aspect of intention, it leads to the action, and action needs a law. So you become a law-abiding person. Your actions are taken into considerations, right or wrong, according to the commands. So you become apparently a lawful person, law-abiding person. It deals with your willpower. The third aspect is perception. Perception leads towards knowledge. You gain knowledge. So, all these 3 phases, emotion, intention, and perception, which constitute the psychological aspect of personality, Islam wants a balance between the 3. If you just develop the emotional aspect of your personality and neglect the intention and action and law, you will become imbalanced. For example, I love my grandchildren too much, Hamad and Ahmad. You may also having the same position with your children as fathers or as grandfathers. But just because I work with them through my emotion, my daughter-in-law, she always tries to create a balance. She punishes them. She puts sometimes the younger children, Ahmad, on naughty chair. She gets control over him. She prohibits him do it and not to do. He sometimes cry and my heart feels hurting. But I have to remain silent. This is how a balance is being created between emotion and action, intention. If just I was with my grandchildren and there was not their mother, I would have spoiled them. My love, my emotion would have spoiled them. And you can apply, I hope you would appreciate it, the same position in your own life. Am I right or no?
Mother has to deal with upbringing and tarbiyah of the children. Father or grandfather has just to deal with love. Whatever they demand, I will give them. I will like to even bring the stars to provide them. But mother will have to put them in a reality, life of reality. This is a balance between al-jazba and al-irada. Then there is perception, knowledge. In case of Islam, if some people giving a very significant indication, there are some scholars and ulama and preachers, those who neglect the emotional aspect of Islamic teachings, the emotional aspect of relationship with God, the emotional and sentimental aspect of relationship with Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they just emphasize on the law through intention and action, or they just emphasize on perception through the knowledge, commandments of Quran and Sunnah. And if you take the emotional aspect of it, it means you have taken away the love from the whole deen. Emotional attachment from Holy Prophet. You have removed the sentimental relationship of the Ummah with Holy Prophet. I will come to that aspect in the practical examples when we will see how to bring this balance back in our life. Then I will explain you how. So those who don't believe in the significance of love, and they say just following is love, just obeying Holy Prophet's commandment is love, just praying and fasting and keeping in view halal and haram and doing the Sharia acts, just this is love, they are totally wrong. My dear sons and daughters and my brothers and sisters, I am categorically declare a thing to you in the light of thousands of arguments of Quran and Sunnah. Unfortunately, we have not. If I had got even 7 days continuous series, I would have elaborated you with hundreds of Quranic and Hadithic examples substantiating this idea. If you just talk of law, you will become an extremist. You will create hatred about Islam. You will project a dry picture of Islam, which won't be attractive for new generation. That would be unnatural. To say just following and practicing is love, that's wrong. Love is something which emerges from your heart, and following is something which can be judged from your actions. Actions are visible from your body. Love is a feeling invisible that exists and emerges from your heart. Love disturbs you, takes away your sleep, creates a fire in your inner self to see your beloved, to be close to your beloved, to please your beloved, to get company of your beloved. Love says just go to see a single glimpse of Al-Gumbatul Khadra. Love says go and just have a look and visit of the streets of Medina. Love asks you go and have a look of Kaaba, my beloved God's house with black cover. Love takes you in the streets of beloved city. And action asks you to prostrate yourself in front of your Lord. Keep yourself away from the forbidden and haram things. Act upon the lawful things. So the intention purifies your actions. Love purifies your heart and soul and spirit. Love enlightens, illuminates your inner self. Following illuminates your outer self. Unless you combine the beauty of inner self and beauty of outer self, you are totally unable to achieve the perfection of Islamic ideal. This is the place where you need to create a positive balance between the two. Don't just base on the slogans of love without following a holy prophet. And don't just talk of the practical following without having the fire of love in your heart for Holy Prophet ﷺ. You have to combine the both. This would be a positive balance. So this is the psychological aspect of your personality, which Islam does not neglect. And then same way is the knowledge, which develops from perception. So there should be a balance between emotion, intention, and perception. Then another aspect is the psychical aspect of your personality. So there is a difference between the two, psychological and psychical. Psychical aspect means a balance between your conscious mind and subconscious mind. A balance between conscious and subconscious. Evil easily functions at conscious level. Good is much more influential in subconscious level. Conscious level remains under influence of actual nature. Subconscious mind remains under influence of potential nature. So you have to create balance here too. Then there is sixth aspect of human personality that is known as transcendental aspect. Through transcendental aspect, you develop the science, you develop the philosophy, you develop morality, you develop arts, you develop religion. So all these canals emerge out of the transcendental aspect of your personality. You develop poetry, you develop prose, you develop ideas, research. Seventh aspect of human personality is spiritual aspect. And spiritual aspect, the seventh aspect, that deals with three things, a balance between three things. The spiritual aspect creates a balance between your three things. One is your nafs, the other is your heart, and the third is your soul, your spirit. Nafs is the soul, qalb is heart, and spirit is your ruh. A very beautiful balance Almighty Allah again wants at your spiritual level. So we have to restore the balance at spiritual level too, at personal level, at natural level, and at spiritual level, and at societal level. Almighty Allah has created a nafs, a soul, and placed him here, at this place, lower place. He has inducted in your personality his ruh, the spirit. It has been placed at higher level, here, higher level. And heart has been made the battlefield. It has been placed between soul and spirit. بين النفس والقلب. الروح بين النفس والقلب. So where does balance exist? Nafs want a control on heart. Nafs is fighting and striving to get control of a heart. On the other hand, ruh, the spirit, is fighting and striving to get control of a heart. Heart is a place where we have to create a positive balance. We have to create a positive balance. And every reality of these three possesses stages. Nafs, sometimes the first stage is an-nafsul ammara. It is commanding nafs, commanding soul for evil. I won't go into the detail, I'm just mentioning the terms. Then I want to move towards the next portion of my talk. If the nafs is upgraded by the process of purification, it becomes the blaming nafs. Rather, it becomes inspired nafs, an-nafsul mulhama. And some urafa says an-nafsul mulhima.
both words. Inspired is mulhama, and inspiring soul, it is mulhima. Alhamaha fujuraha wa taqwaha. And commanding nafs is inna nafsa la'ammaratum bisu. It commands towards evil. When it becomes a nafsul mulhama, it starts differentiating between good and evil. This is a pure balance, without direction. Differentiates between good and evil, but it is just in the middle. Sometimes the lower nafs attracts and it comes down, inclined towards an-nafsul ammara, towards evil. Sometimes the higher nafs influences it and it is inclined towards the higher side, an-nafsul lawwama, gets better and good qualities. So this is an uncertain condition, al-mulhama. And it inspires, and it is inspired in both ways. Good and bad ideas in the man. If it is upgraded, it is more purified, then it becomes a nafsul lawwama. La uqsimu bin nafsil lawwama. Here, this nafs becomes purified and strong and condemns the evil functioning and likes the good actions, acts of piety, acts of purification. This is the higher stage. Then fourth stage becomes nafs at rest, the satisfied or consolated nafs, an-nafsul mutma'inna. From this stage of nafs, wilaya starts. The sainthood, the wilaya, friendship of Almighty Allah starts when the soul achieves the position of an-nafsul mutma'inna. Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'inna, irji'i ila rabbik. This is consolation. Then fifth stage, after that, it comes nafsul radiyya, after nafsul mutma'inna. Nafsul radiyya. And this radiyya is a nafsul radiyya and nafsul mardiyya. Some aimma of the tasawwuf say this is a nafsul kamila. And some of them again differentiate between radiyya is the fifth, mardiyya is the sixth, and an-nafsul kamila or qudsiya is the seventh. But I categorize now for you in 5. It is pleasing soul, and at the same time it is contented and pleased soul. It becomes sacred soul. This is how our soul achieves and attains the stages of perfection. This is the process of nafs. But this change does not occur. This is the main point. If spirit does not become powerful, if our spirit ruh remains weak, it cannot effect the state of an-nafsul ammara. Nafs remains commanding for evil, remains in a bad and worse condition. There is no spiritual improvement in nafs and soul. Improvement only starts with the effect of the power and strength of our spirit. And as far as the spirit is concerned, spirit has also 5 kinds. Then you will know how a balance is created in our heart. I mean positive balance. One spirit is a ruhul hayawani, animalistic spirit, animal spirit. As human being, having all animalistic propensities in our life. Then it is upgraded, becomes a ruhul insani, human spirit. Human spirit. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Then it becomes a ruhul malaki, angelic spirit. Angelic spirit, where the angels are asked to prostrate before Adam. And they come down to have a ziyarah of a person having angelic spirit. Then it becomes ruhul ain, the real spirit. This is the spirit of the perfect human being. A perfect human being. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. When human being achieves the status of the best of creation, spirit becomes Ruhul Ain. And the last spirit becomes the trusted spirit, Ruhul Amin. This trusted spirit has been vested in the angel Jibreel Amin. So all these 5 levels of spirit, when they come to the highest form, when they come to the highest level of their perfection, then it is converted into Ruhul Arwah, and Ruhul Arwah is known as Ar-Ruhul Muhammadi. This is the spirit of Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where Jibreel comes 24,000 times to see him in Medina and Makkah. And he becomes the Ruhul Arwah, the spirit of spirits, the most perfect spirit of the world. So these were the 5 basic spirits. Then, in the same way as I told, this was the spirit, that was nafs. And now comes the battlefield. On one side is nafs, fighting with its own armies, lower side. On higher side is the ruh, the spirit, fighting with his own armies. Here are the armies of vice, there are the armies of virtue. On both sides the armies are there, and the battlefield is heart. Heart is the battlefield. The armies of nafs, junudun nafs, they want to capture the city of heart. They want to capture the capital of heart. On the other hand, armies of spirit, ruh, they want to capture the capital of heart. So they are fighting for capturing the heart, the capital. The armies of nafs are fighting to capture the capital, the heart. Now, the heart itself is the main battlefield which has to decide. Here when we come, again there are stages at this stage. So the first stage is the physical nature of heart. This qalb, which transforms the blood and purifies the blood. Then the heart possesses the spirit, inner consciousness of sir. Then it possesses the arcane, the inner consciousness, that is the sir of heart. Then it possesses the khafi, the hidden aspect of heart. Then it possesses the most hidden aspect of heart, that is sir, and then sirru sir, and then khafi, and then akhfa. Again 5 stages of heart. Nafs is fighting to have a control on heart. Ruh is fighting to have a control on heart. And heart has become a battlefield. So whoever gets the control on heart, he has won the battle. So at this stage, again the basic thing is how to restore the balance, and balance in a positive way. Heart and the creator of heart, the Lord, does not want the demands and desires of nafs, everything to be discarded and rejected. He is a human being, and the creator does not want just the demands of ruh to be rejected. Spirit, no. In this battlefield, he wants to create a balance, but a positive balance. Heart should remain heart, but it should come under the control of spirit. Under the control of spirit. Its inclination should be on the heaven side. If this thing takes place about the heart,
It comes under the control, under the influence of ruh, of spirit, while fulfilling the demands of nafs in a controlled and balanced manner. It is the success of his spirituality. Oh, my brothers and sisters, our heart is a city. And two kings and rulers, they are fighting each other to get control on the capital of heart. On the one way, the king of piety, Ruh, is fighting with its armies to get the control and to get the possession of the battlefield of heart, the city of heart, the capital of heart. On the other hand, the king of nafs, along with his armies, is fighting to get the control of the capital of heart. Ruh and nafs both have their own armies, their own propensities, their own attractions. Nafs is calling you to the lower world. Ruh is calling you to the upper world. And your personality is constituted by a combination of upper world's qualities and lower world's qualities. You possess ahsanut taqweem, and at the same time you possess asfalus safilin. And a heart has been placed between the upper side and the lower side as a capital. Both armies are fighting each other to get the full control of the capital of your heart. Nafs is giving attraction of wealth, attraction of worldly beauties, attraction of worldly attainments, attraction of luxuries, attraction of this beautiful life, beautiful houses, business, cars, this and that, all glimpses of this material world. These are the arms and ammunitions of the commander of nafs, commander, chief commander, the nafs. He is coming up to the heart that if you join me, I will provide you all these luxuries of life. At the same time, the spirit is calling, oh heart, if you join me, I can't give you a beautiful thing. If you join me, maybe I am unable to provide you the luxuries of this world, but I have much higher luxury from these luxuries. Heart asks, what kind of luxury you are going to give me? Because nafs has offered many things. He has offered women, he has offered children, he has offered domestic lives, he has offered beautiful houses, he has offered nice business, he has offered beautiful cars, he has offered very big status of this world, he has offered many things of this world which attract me. What are your offers if I join your army? Heart is asking the spirit, and spirit says, sorry, I can't provide you those luxuries of world which have been offered by the nafs, but I have better attractions and better luxuries than those. Heart asks, what better attractions do you have, O spirit? Spirit says, I have Jannah in front as opposed to the dunya. I have beautiful, pure life without anger, without indignity, without impurity, without cruelty, without sins, without tortures, without problems, free of all problems. Beautiful life based on satisfaction, consolation, happiness and joyness. I have that life of Jannah. Heart asks, what else do you have? Can I see? Spirit says, all attractions which I can give you, I can't unveil you in this world. My promise is a right promise, but you will find it after your death. It's a future promise. Here is a present promise in hand. Here is a promise for future. Then Spirit says, I have better attractions than that. And that is the nearness of Almighty Allah. If you obey me, act according to my demands, my instructions, every weekend on Friday, I will take you to the company of Allah. Where prophets, you will find prophets sitting around him. You will find angels serving for you. You will find rains of nur. You will find Almighty Allah speaking to you. But in the curtains. And if you accept my offer, I have something much higher than that. And that is, what is that? He says, if you accept my advice, then a time will come on Fridays when Almighty Allah will unveil, remove the curtain from his face of divine beauty, and you will be able to gaze in his beauty, and he will looking at you. You will be seeing Allah and yourself one to one. You will live in his company. You will achieve in his prayer. You will wash in the rivers of prayer. You will live in the gardens of nearness of Almighty Allah. You will nourish in the gardens of prayer of Almighty Allah. He will be near you. You will be near them. You will speak to Allah. He will speak to you where nobody would be in between Allah and your beauty. I have this much to offer you. Then those fortunate people who understand the realities of the promises of Spirit, they decide, yes, we leave this worldly promises and we join you, O Ruh. As soon as the heart joins the Ruh, the heart achieves the status of Ruh in this world. The battlefield is won. And now Ruh says, now you are allowed to fulfill the needs of nafs in a controlled manner, as it is permissible, as it is allowed. Just transgression is prohibited. Just violation is prohibited. Not the fulfillment, not the enjoyment. Just transgression is fulfilled. So in this way, heart enjoys the taste of nafs as well as the beauties of ruh. It becomes controller of both sides. This is the positive balance which Almighty Allah wants to create in our life. And he asks, who are the people? If I may ask you, after listening to this discourse, do you want to join the armies of nafs? Just tell me, raise your hands. Now, is there anybody who wants to join the armies and attractions of nafs? Should anybody raise the hands? And who are amongst you who want to join the armies of ruh for sake of Allah's beauty? They should raise the hands. They should raise the hands. This is the time in your life to take the decision. When the time will pass, then nobody will be in a position to come back in this life. There would be no returning to this life. We have to take this decision now. We have to change the priorities of our life. And we have to create this positive balance in our life. Why we are saying restoration of balance? Because we are not asking to reject the requirements of nafs. We are not asking to reject totally the requirements of dunya. No, we are asking the fulfillment of the needs of nafs, the fulfillment of the requirements of dunya, but under the control of spirit. Control of the commandments of Almighty Allah in a positive way, in a positive direction. So it is a fulfillment of the whole sum of the life. This is the restoration of balance in our life which Islam teaches. Now comes the question, how is this positive restoration of balance possible? How can we restore this positive balance in our life? The answer is through love.
The answer is through love. The answer is through love. Love is the only way which would restore the positive balance and directive balance in our life. That's why Almighty Allah has based the whole concept of deen on love. Almighty Allah has constituted each and every relationship of Islam, whether this is a relationship to Allah, whether this is a relation to Holy Prophet, whether this is a relation to the Ahlul Bayt, whether this is a relation to the Sahaba, or it is the relation with the awliya and salihin, or this is a relation to the creatures and human beings, either this is a relation to the animals and birds and ants, every single creature of this world. And whether this is a relationship to our deen, to our family, children, the whole sum of the relationships Islam has based on love. And the crux of all these loves is the love of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This love of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam leads us to the love of Almighty Allah. And this love of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam leads us to all positive love which is required by Almighty Allah and His Prophet. There are people who call us towards Allah on the basis of fear. There can be a relationship to Almighty Allah based on fear, but the prophets and their true followers, they have been basing the relationship to Almighty Allah on love. And these are the true teachings of Quran. Let us study the Holy Quran. What should be our relation? How to restore this positive balance through love. Now I'm giving the answer. How to restore the positive balance in our lives, in our aqidah, in our worship, in our actions, in our thoughts, in our ideas, in the whole sum of our lives, secular or spiritual, earthly or ethereal, materialistic or spiritualistic. This positive balance would be restored only through love. Let us have some glimpses of the concept of love to restore this balance. Surah Al-Baqarah, I am quoting Surah number 2, verse 165. In connection of our link and relationship to Almighty Allah, Quran says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَتَّخِذُ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ أَنْدَادًا يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. And there are some among the people who take others besides Allah as His partners, who take other idols and love them, and it is the love due to Allah. They love them as they ought to love to Almighty Allah. They were supposed to love Almighty Allah alone. But those, then Quran says, those who believe, those who are believers, the mu'mineen. So mu'mineen and believers are those who love Almighty Allah the most, far more intensely than anyone else. So Almighty Allah has bracketed the love with Iman. Rather, I would say Almighty Allah has interpreted the concept of Iman with love. Almighty Allah has given an example of Iman. Almighty Allah has embodied the concept of Iman in the form of love. If there is love for Almighty Allah, there is Iman in the heart. And if there is no love in your heart, you don't possess anymore the iman of Almighty Allah. Then Quran says, this was love to Allah. Then Quran says in Surah Ali Imran, Surah number 3, verse 31, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهِ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهِ. Here the love of Almighty Allah and of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the form of ittiba has been combined. It is stated, O beloved, O my beloved Prophet, Messenger, say, O people, say, if you love Allah, then follow me. Allah will then take you as His beloveds. So how to achieve Allah's love? First of all, it is clear that Allah's love is Iman. Be very clear on that. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. Extreme love for Almighty Allah. This is the, in fact, entity, reality of Iman. This is the reality of Iman. How to achieve this love? Quran says only through the means of Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah's love cannot be achieved without Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Muhammad, peace be upon him, is an indispensable wasila of Allah's love. Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his following, and a true devoted attachment to Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a true following of him, submission to him and obedience to him and loyalty to Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the sole way of achievement of love of Almighty Allah. Stated, if you love Allah, then follow me. Then Almighty Allah will start loving you. You won't only become lover of Allah, rather you will become beloveds of Allah. This was the second verse of Quran. Third stage in Surah Al-Ma'idah, it is Surah number 5, verse 54, again stated, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu man yartadda minkum an dinihi fasawfa ya'ti Allahu biqawmin yuhibbuhum wa yuhibbunahu. O believers, whoever of you turns away from his deen, religion of Islam, Allah will soon bring in their place a people. He will himself love them and they will love him. Now this is the third step. Second step was how to achieve love of Allah. The third step is, what is the method? What is the procedure? How does Allah's love come in your heart? How you become beloved of Almighty Allah and lover of Almighty Allah? Quran says that Allah will bring the people, He will love them and they will love Him. So on the basis of your purity of hearts, on the basis of your true following of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, on the basis of true loyalty to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, on the basis of true obedience and submission to Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because of this your act of loyalty to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Almighty Allah starts loving you. He starts loving you on the basis of your true loyalty to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when he starts loving you, then as a response, he induces his love for him in your heart. So he, first of all, he loves you, and then you are enabled to love him. I am repeating. First of all, Allah starts loving you, and as a response of His blessing, you are enabled to love Him. But how He starts loving you? He starts loving you exclusively
on the basis of your true loyalty to his beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He sees who is true loyal to my beloved Prophet. When he finds someone true loyal to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, someone a true lover of Holy Prophet, someone a true follower of Holy Prophet, someone a true obedient to Holy Prophet, someone truly attached with Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam through his mind, through his heart, through his action, through his thoughts, through his soul and through his spirit. When he finds somebody is fully attached to his beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then he starts loving his servant, that person. And when he starts loving him, as a response, he starts loving Almighty Allah. This is the whole phenomena. So whole story starts from the connection to Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The whole story of love. Then Quran says at another occasion in Surah Tawbah, Surah number 9, verse 24, قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ آبَاؤُكُمْ وَأَبْنَاؤُكُمْ وَإِخْوَانُكُمْ وَأَزْوَاجُكُمْ وَعَشِيرَتُكُمْ وَأَمْوَالٌ اقْتَرَفْتُمُوهَا وَتِجَارَةٌ تَخْشَوْنَ كَسَادَهَا وَمَسَاكِنُ تَرْضَوْنَهَا أَحَبَّ إِلَيْكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَجِهَادٍ فِي سَبِيلِهِ فَتَرَبَّصُوا حَتَّى يَأْتِيَ اللَّهُ بِأَمْرِهِ. O my esteemed and exalted messenger, say this to the people, if your fathers, forefathers, your sons, your daughters, your brothers, your sisters, your wives, your other kith and kin, and the riches that you have earned, properties, wealth you have earned so hard, and the trade and business that you fear may decline, and the homes you are fond of, if all these things are dearer to you than Allah and His Messenger, and struggling in His cause, in His deen, if all these things are dearer to you than Allah and His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and His deen, then wait until Allah brings His command of torment to you. So Almighty Allah has connected His love and love of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam together, and He has made the Holy Prophet's love and Allah's love a single article. A single article. So there would be no differentiation between love of Allah, love of Holy Prophet, and love of Deen. These three are three dimensions of single reality. Love of Allah, love of Holy Prophet, and love of His Deen. Three dimensions of a single reality. Every single act is based on love in Islam. Surah Ad-Dahr, Surah number 76, verse 8 stated, وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. And they give their own food in deep love of Allah to the needy, the orphan, and the prisoners out of sacrifice, despite their own desire and need for it. Even if you are performing an act of charity, so act of charity should also be based on the basis of love. Intention should be the love. This makes the act of charity acceptable and beloved by Almighty Allah. This is the basic concept. Now, coming to the same subject, as I mentioned, we have gone far away from love, and unfortunately, that's why we have lost our balance in deen. Love is the only tool to bring the balance back, to bring the lost balance back to our life. If you want to bring the positive balance back to your lives and to your deen, you have to bring Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam back to your lives. If we remain detached from Holy Prophet, we will always be imbalanced. Balance cannot be achieved without love of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam bringing back to in our hearts.
If we speak of deen without love of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then we are taking people towards extremism. You know, the biggest dilemma and the problem of this world is terrorism. I am not going to deliver any part of my speech on this terrorism. I have already given a very extensive fatwa, the verdict of 600 pages on that. You can easily read it. But the basic thing, people are going towards extreme. What is the thing which leads people towards terrorism? Extremism leads the people towards terrorism. How the people are led towards extremism? Lack of love leads the people towards extremism, towards radicalism and towards terrorism. Why? Because love is the only tool which creates mercy in your personality. Love is the only tool which creates kindness in your temperament. Love is the only tool which provides you with softness and mildness. Love is the only tool which blesses you with compassion. Love is the only tool which brings back balance and moderation in your life. So without love, you cannot bring kindness and softness. And without softness and compassion, you cannot bring balance and moderation. And without balance and moderation, you cannot present the positive picture of Islam in the front of the world today. We are suffering. The terrorists in this world are bringing bad name to Islam and the Muslim Ummah. Muslim Ummah and terrorism, they have been bracketed. Why? Because their acts lack love of Holy Prophet. Their acts love the act of kindness, love the act of mercy, lack the acts of compassion, lack the acts of mildness and softness. All those beauties of our Aqidah, beauties of Deen, beauties of Islamic character, which emerge out of the concept of love. If love is missing, then everything is missing of Islam. You have to bring love back in your lives. Love Allah. Love Prophet Muhammad. Love Ahlul Bayt. Love Sahaba, the companions. Love awliya and salihin. Love humanity, irrespective of their religion, Muslims or non-Muslim. Love human beings just as they are the creators of Almighty Allah. Love animals, they are the creators of Almighty Allah. Love your kids, love your families, love your friends, love this society of Canada where you are living. I always say Canadian society, it is not an exaggeration. I have traveled all over the world. This is a paradise of the modern and Western world today. Love your society. Love your neighbors. Love human beings. Love relations. Love the families. Bring back the beautiful love in your life, in your families, in your relationship. And the fountain of all this love is love of Allah and love of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is reported in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. You say, when you read Holy Quran, just recite the first chapter of Holy Quran, Surah Al-Fatiha, where Almighty Allah introduces Himself as Rabbul Alameen. He says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praises are for the Lord of the universes. Now he introduces who is the Lord of the universes, of the worlds. Who is Rabbul Alameen? He would have said, the one who have created you, the one who provides you everything, the one who knows everything, hidden and open, secret and expressed. The one you have to be answerable to Him, the one who is just, the one who is almighty, the one who is powerful, the one who is magnificent, the one who is everywhere. He would have introduced himself in any way, having uncountable numerous attributes and qualities. But look at Quran, how Almighty Allah wants you to see Him, how Almighty Allah wants you to understand Him. He says, He is Rabbul Alameen. Oh my Lord, what do you mean? What are your main attributes as Rabbul Alameen? He says, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, the most merciful, the most compassionate. The first attribute and quality which He has mentioned is His mercy, His compassion. And He has not used single word, two words, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, both having the same meaning from different way, different application. And the third verse, then He says, Malik Yawmiddin. His being Malik Yawmiddin indicates towards His administration of justice on the day of judgment. He would be the administrator of justice. He will give you the rewards and awards. So His administration of justice comes afterwards. His mercy and compassion comes before that. Then Malik Yawmiddin, single attribute, as far as the mercy and compassion is double. So His mercy is 2 times as compared to His administratorship. That's why He says, Rahmati wasiyat kulla shay. His rahmah and mercy, and His mercy, His rahmah, His mahabbah, His love overcomes everything. It's overwhelming. Anas ibn Malik radiallahu ta'ala anhu states, he says, that a person came to Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he asked about the final hour, saying, when is the final hour, Ya Rasulullah? Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked him, what have you prepared for it? And the man said, look at the words. Holy Prophet said, Ma a'adatta laha. What have you prepared for the final hour? He said, Ma a'adattu laha min kathiri amalin wala salatin wala siyamin wa fi riwayatin wala amalin wala sadaqatin. Ya Rasulullah, for that final hour, I have nothing. I have not prepared much good work for it. Neither ritual prayers, nor fastings, nor act of charity, nor lot many pious acts for the day of judgment. Illa inni yuhibbullah wa rasulah. Except that I love Allah and His Messenger. I have prepared just love for Allah and His Messenger, not too many acts. Then Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, he said, Anta ma'aman ahbabta. Then you would be raised on the day of judgment together with whom you love. And if you love me, you would be raised in my company on the day of judgment. So the companions were so much happy on that day. So you understand this is the Sahih Bukhari and Muslim muttafaq alayh hadith. Holy Prophet appreciated it. Then the same hadith has been reported by Imam Muslim with other chain. Same hadith has been reported by Anas ibn Malik, again in Bukhari Muslim with other chain. And Abu Dharr says, reported by Abu Dawood and Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal and Bazzar with a strong chain, he says, أنه قال يا رسول الله الرجل يحب القوم ولا يستطيع أن يعمل كعملهم قال أنت يا أبا ذر مع من أحببت قال فإني يحب الله ورسوله قال فإنك مع من أحببته قال فعادها أبو ذر فعادها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Abu Dharr radiallahu ta'ala anhu says, oh, Ya Rasulullah, a man loves the people but he does not behave exactly as they behave. He loves them, but he can't behave exactly as their behavior, as their good acts and deeds. So what will happen to him? Holy Prophet ﷺ, "Oh Abu Dhar, you would be together with those whom you love." He said, "Then I love Allah and His Messenger." Holy Prophet ﷺ said, "Oh Abu Dhar, you would be together with those you love. You would be together with those who love, and you would be together with those who love." Holy Prophet repeated the same. This has come with a perfect chain of narrators, this hadith. And same hadith has been reported with the different words by Abdullah bin Mughaffal. That's why Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu ta'ala quotes, Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stated, "La yuminu ahadukum hatta yakuna Allah wa rasulahu habba ilayya mimma siwahuma." He said, none of you will truly believe until Allah and His Messenger are dearer to Him than everything apart from them. Your belief will become perfect only if you love Allah and His Holy Prophet ﷺ more than anything in this world. And until being cast into the fire of hell is dearer to him than reverting to unbelief. Holy Prophet ﷺ said. Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha reports, a person came to Holy Prophet ﷺ and said, "Ya Rasulullah, innaka la habbu ilayya min nafsi, wa innaka la habbu ilayya min ahli, wa habbu ilayya min waladi, wa inni la akuna fil bayt, fa azkuruka fama asbiru hatta atika wa anzur ilayk, wa iza zakartu mawti wa mawtak araftu annaka iza dakhalta al-jannah wa rufi'ta ma'an nabiyyin, wa inni iza dakhaltu al-jannah hasibtu an la araka fala yaruddu ilayya Rasulullah, shay'an hatta nazala Jibril bihadhihi al-aya wa man yuti illah wa rasul, fa ulaika ma'al ladhina an'ama Allahu alayhim min an-nabiyyin wa as-siddiqin wa ash-shuhada'i wa as-salihin," or kama qala. Aisha Siddiqa radiyallahu ta'ala anha says, a man came to Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, "O Messenger of Allah, you are indeed dearer to me than myself. You are indeed dearer to me than my family. You are indeed dearer to me than my offspring. But when I am home, I keep remembering you. I shall not have patience until I come to see you. But when I think of my own death, I am aware that you will make your effulgent appearance in the garden of paradise. You will be staying on the highest portion of the paradise, where I would not be able to reach you. Then I think I may not be deprived of beholding your countenance, beholding your company, beholding your vision." Holy Prophet ﷺ said, did not give any response, he kept quiet. The man was upset that after death, I can't live unless I see you. I can't live unless I keep myself in your company. But after my death, you would be living in the highest of the grades of Jannah. I would be very far from you according to my own position. Then I would die without seeing you. What will happen in the life hereafter? Holy Prophet ﷺ stated, silent. He kept silent. Jibreel Amin came and he revealed this Quranic ayah. Almighty Allah has said, Allah's messenger did not give him any response. Then Almighty Jibreel came and said, then Quran says, and whoever obeys Allah and His messenger, and whoever loves and obeys Allah as His messenger, they are the people who shall be in the company of those spiritual dignitaries of the last day, whom Allah has blessed with this special fear. They will be living with the Nabiyyin, Anbiya and Awliya and Salihin. So you will get, because of your these things, love, you will be kept in the company of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then he was given the good news. So the basic thing is that love to Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this becomes the basis of the strength of Iman. And this is a thing which leads you to that place where you get the nearness and company of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why Sayyidina Abu Huraira narrates, Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Iza ahabballahu abdan ada Jibril, inna Allah yuhibbu fulanan fa'ahbibhu, fayuhibbu Jibril, fayunadi Jibril fi ahli as-sama, inna Allah yuhibbu fulanan fa'ahibbuhu, fayuhibbu ahli as-sama, thumma yudaw lahu al-qabulu fil ard." It is muttafaq alayh. Prophet said, if Allah loves a servant, a person, he calls Jibreel and orders him that Allah loves so and so, you must also love him. So Jibreel also starts loving their person who has become beloved of Almighty Allah. Then Jibreel will get the commandment, after loving, go to the people of heaven and proclaim them and tell them Allah loves so and you all of them must love him. The people of heaven will therefore love him. Then acceptance will be revealed on the earth in the hearts of the people, and by the divine commandment of Allah, their hearts would be made loving to those who are beloved of Almighty Allah. So this is how the attachment to Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the form of love has been mentioned. So we are unable to restore our balance of Iman without this love. And love of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam becomes the basis. This becomes the basis of our success in this life and the life hereafter. And the same was lesson and the Imani practice was given to the companions. Their Iman was a combination of love of Holy Prophet and reverence to Holy Prophet. Their Iman was a combination of love. It is reported in Sahih Bukhari and Hadith and Muslim and Muttafaq alayh by Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He says, Inna Abu Bakrin kana yusalli lahum fi waja'in nabiyyi allazi tuwaffiya fi hatta iza kana yawmul isnain wa hum sufufan fi as-salah fakashafa an-nabiyyu sitra al-hujrah yanzuru ilayna wa huwa qa'imun kanna wajhahu warakatu mushafin thumma tabassama yadhaku fahamamna an naftatina min al-farh bi salat min al-farh bi ru'yati an-nabiy fanaqasa Abu Bakr ala qibayl yasil as-saffa wa zanna anna an-nabiyya kharijun ila as-salat فأشار إلينا النبي أن أتموا صلاتكم وأرخوا الستر فتوفي في يومه. Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how the companions used to love Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Their whole concept of deen, their whole concept of worship, their whole concept of Iman, their whole concept of attachment to Holy Prophet, their whole concept of spiritual attachment to Almighty Allah, their whole concept of spirituality, their whole concept of spiritual uplift, everything was based on the concept of love to Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It comes in Bukhari and Muslim that Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq was leading the ritual prayer. It was Monday when beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was ill. He raised the curtain of his sacred chamber, and Anas ibn Malik says that he blessed us with his compassionate gaze, which we are missing for the last 3 days restlessly, and we were waiting for him impatiently. The effulgent face of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the shining, the beautiful face of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam seemed to us while we were praying. They were praying, they were facing towards Kaaba, and Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam house was towards extreme left. His house was not in front of him. The companions and Abu Bakr Siddiq, while worshipping and praying, they were facing towards Kaaba, and the door of Holy Prophet was on extreme right. Standing there was on extreme left, extreme left. So they were not watching towards the door of Holy Prophet. They were watching towards the direction of Kaaba. They were concentrating on the place of prostration, and they were busy in their prayer when Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam raised the curtain to see
how his companions, how his servants, how his beloveds, and how his true followers are worshipping behind Abu Bakr Siddiq. So his effulgent face of Holy Prophet, when it came, illuminated pages, they see, when we saw the face of Holy Prophet, it looked like the open pages of Holy Quran. The shining face of Holy Prophet looked like the illuminating page of Quran. Seemed to be illuminated. When he glanced at the ritual prayer in progress, he felt pleased, and then he smiled. I am quoting this hadith from Bukhari and Muslim, muttafaq alayh, unanimous hadith. And he said, we had nearly ended and broken our ritual prayer because of the extreme love and joy in order to see the shining face of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were busy in praying. They were facing towards Kaaba, and the door of Holy Prophet ﷺ was on extreme left to them. His door was not in front of them. They were busy in worshipping Almighty Allah. Look how to restore the balance of faith today. How to bring back our lost beauty of faith back today. How to restore the balance of Iman. How to restore the balance of faith. How to restore the balance between connection to Allah and connection to Holy Prophet. How to restore this Iman, balance of Iman. Look at the practice and sunnah and seerah and faith of the companions. Nobody in this whole world does possess the better degree of Iman than companions. No one in this world possessed the better state of Iman than Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman and Ali. And I am quoting a unanimous hadith from Bukhari and Muslim. And it's not a matter of one companion or two companions. The whole Jamaat of the Sahaba were praying behind Abu Bakr Siddiq. When Holy Prophet ﷺ took up the curtain of his house in order to watch how my loving companions are praying and worshipping Almighty Allah. And he was on their extreme left. Extreme left. He was not in front of them. When they heard removing the curtain, they understood that Hazrat Aisha or the wives of Holy Prophet, they can't remove the curtain. This can only be Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam who has removed the curtain, and definitely he must be standing on the door while they were praying and worshipping Almighty Allah. So everybody look at extremity of the love of companions. This is how we have to restore the balance. This is how we have to bring the balance of Iman back to our lives. This is how we have to achieve the success of Iman. And this is how we have to create the true balance of faith in our actual lives through the practice and conduct and behaviors of the companions. So what did the companion do when they heard the removal of curtains? They turned their faces from Kaaba towards Kaaba of Kaaba. Face of Prophet Muhammad was the Kaaba of Kaaba. Kaaba was in front of their eyes, and Kaaba of Kaaba was on the left side of the mosque. They forget the direction of Kaaba. They forget in which condition they were standing. Look at the position of love of the Holy Prophet of the companions. Look their ishq, look their love, look their mahabbah, look their attachment, look their loyalty, look their spiritual condition of heart. They turned their faces towards the door of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And hadith of Bukhari says, فَهَمَمْنَا أَن نَفْتَاتِنَا مِنَ الْفَرْحِ بِرُؤْيَةِ النَّبِيِّ صلى الله عليه وسلم. And when we gazed, when we saw the shining, the beautiful face of my beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the curtain was raised, every companion forgot his worshipping, forgot the state of salat. Everybody was indulged in vision, in looking into the beauty of face of Holy Prophet, their beloved. They forgot which condition they were standing in, what act they were performing. They got busy in gazing the beauty of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, looking at him. And then the beautiful words. This was what happened to the companions. And this situation created a big change. Because when Holy Prophet's face came in front of them, their illuminating face created some lights which affected Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq. He understood that Holy Prophet must have come out while worshipping Almighty Allah. Out of the respect and reverence of Holy Prophet, Abu Bakr Siddiq left his musalla and came back. Siddiq Akbar is leaving his musalla. Here lies the concept of combination between Tawheed and Risala. Today the people just talk of Tawheed, a blind concept of Tawheed. They don't understand what Tawheed is and where Tawheed has come from. They don't understand what concept of Risala is and what kind of devotion, attachment and love the concept of Risala demands from us. Here is a combination of Tawheed and Risala. If we want to restore the balance of Iman in our lives, we have to follow the footsteps of Abu Bakr, Umar and Usman and Ali. We have to follow the footsteps of the companions from Bukhari and Muslim, muttafaq alayh. So they forgot their state. All of them turned towards the face of Holy Prophet. فَهَمَمْنَا أَن نَفْتَاتِنَا مِنَ الْفَرْحِ بِرُؤْيَةِ النَّبِيِّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. These are the words of Sahih Bukhari. That everybody, when he gazed and saw the beautiful shining face of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they forgot their prayer. And everybody was just absorbed in looking into the beauty of the face of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Abu Bakr Siddiq left his musalla and joined the first line and vacated the musalla for Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this was the condition. If we want to restore the Iman, if we want to restore the balance of Iman, the love and obedience, if we want to restore the balance between the connection to Holy Prophet and following of Holy Prophet, we have to follow the footsteps of the companions and Khulafa'ur Rashideen and the sunnah of them. So when whole scenario was changed, then Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and whatever they did, they had nearly ended. In hadith, they say we had nearly ended our ritual prayer due to the extreme joy of having blissful and heartening glimpse of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam face. Abu Bakr Siddiq also felt as if Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had come out for the ritual prayer. So he initiated to drag himself on his soles to join the first row. He left the musalla. When Holy Prophet saw the whole situation was changed, gave us the gesture to complete his prayer. He gave us a gesture to complete the prayer, and he pulled the curtain down and went back, departed us on that day. If we want to restore the balance, if we want to restore the balance of Iman, if we want to re-achieve the beauty of Iman, if we want to re-achieve the completion and perfection of Iman, it would be impossible without following into the footsteps of Abu Bakr, Umar and Usman and Ali, which they performed in front of Holy Prophet. Holy Prophet would have asked them that you had done wrong. Why have you turned your faces? Why have you disturbed your prayer because me? No, Holy Prophet knew whether they look at Kaaba or they look at me, because Kaaba was Kaaba and the face of Prophet Muhammad was Kaaba of Kaaba. It was Kaaba of Kaaba. So turning their face towards Prophet Muhammad did not break their prayers. Rather, this was a spiritual perfection of their prayers. This is how we have to restore this balance again our life in this lives, in the light of the conduct of companions. Again, another hadith, Bukhari and Muslim, that is muttafaq alayh, again reported by Sahal bin Sa'ad as-Sa'idi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went to the tribe Amr bin Auf to bring about peace among them. There were some disputes existing between them. In the meanwhile, the time of ritual fard prayer approached. So the muezzin came to Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu and asked, will you lead the people in the ritual prayer so that I may announce the adhan? He said yes. So Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, so he started leading the ritual prayer. During the proceedings of prayer, Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came. Now let me read the hadith. And Sahal ibn Sa'ad as-Sa'idi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. فجاء المؤذن إلى أبي بكر فقال تصلي للناس فأقيم قال نعم فصلى أبو بكر فجاء رسول الله والناس في الصلاة فتخلص حتى وقف في الصف فصفق الناس وكان أبو بكر لا يلتفت في صلاته فلما أكثر الناس التصفيق التفت فرأى رسول الله فأشار إليه رسول الله إن امكث مكانك ورفع أبو بكر يديه فحمد الله على ما أمر به رسول الله من ذلك ثم استأخر أبو بكر حتى استوى في الصف وتقدم رسول الله فلما انصرف قال يا أبا بكر ما منعك أن تثبت إذ أمرتك قال أبو بكر ما كان لابن أبي قحافة أن يصلي بين يدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. This is hadith of Bukhari and Muslim muttafaq alayh. What happened? So Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq, he started the ritual prayer. Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had gone for judgment to adjudicate some disputed matters between two tribes. Meanwhile, he came back and he tried to join the prayer when Abu Bakr Siddiq was leading the ritual prayer. When Holy Prophet came and the companions saw him, that he has arrived back, so the people patted their hands like he would never pay attention to anything else during the ritual prayer. They started patting their hands like this. Now see the love of the companions to Holy Prophet. Look at the respect, honor of the companions to Holy Prophet. When he arrived, they were praying, worshipping Almighty Allah. During the act of their worship, when Holy Prophet arrived, they patted their hands and wanted Abu Bakr Siddiq to know that Holy Prophet has arrived during the prayer so that he may leave the musalla and give the praise to Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This was their respect and love for Holy Prophet even during the prayer and worshipping of Allah. We have to restore this kind of balance with the spiritual link of Holy Prophet and spiritual link with our prayers and deen. Unless we give this special spiritual status to Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it would be impossible to bring the greatness and highness of deen and the beautiful taste of iman back in our lives. So what companions did? When companions saw that Holy Prophet has arrived, when they started patting their hands in prayer, they started patting their hands. When sound of patting the hands rose, Abu Bakr got it and perceived that beloved messenger of Allah has arrived. So he, during his ritual prayer, decided to step back from his position. But Allah's messenger indicated him to continue in his position. On this, Abu Bakr Siddiq raised his hands and thanked Almighty Allah
After thanking, again he stepped back into the first row and left the musalla so that Holy Prophet should come forward and lead the prayer. Whole scenario was changed during worshipping Allah, during the prayer for Allah. Then Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam raised his hands, thanked Almighty Allah. And then Almighty Allah's messenger took the leadership of the ritual prayer. He went forward, crossed through the rows, went forward, and then he started leading the prayer. After completing the ritual prayer, he asked, "O Abu Bakr, what prevented you from continuing as leader of the prayer? Even when I had already commanded you to stay there." Abu Bakr submitted. Now this is the beautiful answer of Abu Bakr Siddiq. This is how they dealt with the situation. He said, "Ya Rasulullah, how dare son of Abu Quhafa," Abu Quhafa is the name of Abu Bakr Siddiq's father, "how dare the son of Abu Quhafa lead the ritual prayer in front of Allah's messenger? When Allah's messenger is there, it was impossible and against respect and reverence in that condition standing in front of you. So I left the musalla." Then Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he finished his prayer, so he turned back to the companions and said, "Why should I have seen you clapping hands? If something like this happens during the prayer proceeding, one should loudly say, 'Glory to Allah,' say 'Subhanallah, Subhanallah, Subhanallah.' Instead of clapping the hand, say 'Subhanallah.'" So he approved the act of reverence and respect of the companions, but changed the mode. Instead of clapping, say 'Subhanallah,' so that they may leave the place for me. So this was the link, spiritual and cordial link of the companions to Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the love, how they were attached with him, how they used to revere him, how they used to respect him, how they were spiritually and cordially attached to him. This was the actually life for their iman and faith, and this was in fact the restoring of balance of iman and amal. A beautiful hadith. I am coming to concluding the subject. Again, this hadith is reported in Sahih Bukhari on Miswar bin Mahrama and Marwan. According to the Al-Miswar bin Mahrama, they say when Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alaihi wasallam, he was among the companions, and in the day of Hudaybiyah, they were there as the representatives of the Meccans. They saw how the companions were dealing with Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, their respect to him, their obedience to him, their special love to him, extreme love to him, their behavior to him. They watched, and they say that what happened when they were watched. They say, that we have seen the link of the companions with Holy Prophet. My dear sons and daughters, my dear brothers and sisters, we have to bring the same link to Holy Prophet in our lives which the companions used to have. We have to restore the same relationship with Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the relationship which the companion used to have. We have to bring the same linkage to the person of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which kind of linkage companions used to have. Without restoring that link, it would be impossible to come back, re-emerge again as a better Muslims and a better ummah. Look at the iman, look at the amal, look at the aqidah, look at the link, look at the mental position, look at their cordial link, look at their faith, look at their respect and reverence to Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, living reference, which has been taught by Sahih Bukhari. They say that we saw that Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we saw that by Allah, we saw with our own hands in Hudaybiyah, when Allah's messenger cleared his throat of some secretion, some of his companions would take it on the palm of their hands and rub it on their face and skin. This was the level of love of the companions. Today, if you mention these kinds of events, I am not quoting the stories from the Seerah book. I am not quoting the stories from the later period. I am quoting the hadith muttafaq alayh, the unanimous from Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. I am quoting the practices of the companions Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman and Ali. And I am quoting the practices of the companions which were performed in front of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They used to take the secretion on their palms and rub that secretion on their face and skins. And they say, we saw if he gives them a command, they would make haste to obey his command. They say, we saw if he performs the ablution, they would almost fight with one another over the water he has used for the purpose. If he speaks, they would lower their voices in his presence, and they would not raise their looks to see him in his presence, and they will love him deeply. They will provide submissiveness to him. They will perform extreme reverence for him. And in this condition, when Urwa bin Abdullah returned to his companions and they asked, "Oh Urwa, what have you seen?" Urwa stated to Meccans, the people of Mecca, he said, "Oh my people." These are the words of Urwa in Sahih Bukhari. Urwa says, "Faraja Urwa ila ashabihi, faqala ay qawm, wallahi, laqad wafaftu ala al-muluk, wa wafaftu ala Qaisar wa Kisra wa Najashi, wallahi in ra'aytu malikan, qattu yu'azzimuhu ashabuhu, ma yu'azzimu ashabu Muhammadin Muhammada, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam." He said, "By God, I have been to various places, to various kings, and I have seen everybody, various nations respecting their kings. But I saw that if this prophet clears his throat out of some secretion or saliva, some of his companions would take it on the palm of his hand and they will rub it on their face and skin on their chest. And I saw if he gives them a command, they would make haste to obey his commandments. I saw if he performs ablution, they would almost fight to get a single drop of water which fell down from his ablution on the earth. And they would never allow a single drop of the water of his wuzu to drop on the earth. And I saw if he speaks, they would lower their voices in his presence and would not raise their looks to see him because of their deep love, submissiveness and reverence for him." And then Urwa therefore returned to his companions and he said, "Oh my people, by Allah, I have visited the kings, I have visited the Kaisar of Rome, I have visited the Khusro of Iran, I have visited the Najashi or Habsha, and by Allah, I have never seen a king revered, respected and revered by his companions to the extent that the companions of Muhammad revere Muhammad in any case." So you are not in a position to fight him. You are not in a position to combat him. If they don't allow a single drop of his ablution to fall down on the earth, how would they allow you to reach to his body? They will allow to cut their necks and everything, but you won't be able to reach him. So the best way is to submit before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and not to decide with him. My dear brothers, sisters, and my dear sons and daughters,
This was the standard of love. This was the standard of respect and reverence rendered by the companions for Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this was the level of their spiritual link. This was the level of their relationship with Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I have not quoted a single hadith other than Bukhari and Muslim. Not a single hadith of weak chain. I have quoted hadith unanimously agreed upon between Bukhari and Muslim. If this was the Aqidah of companions, if this was the link of the companions to Holy Prophet, if this was their spiritual relationship to Holy Prophet, if this was the extremity of their love and compassion with Holy Prophet, so we have to judge. Look into your heart, look into your spirits, look into your inner selves, whether you and we are at the same footing in case of loving our Holy Prophet. Answer me. If we talk of this extremity of love to Holy Prophet, the people who are lost, who don't know the real teachings of Quran and Sunnah, who are not aware of the real true conduct of the companions, those who are not truly aware of the spiritual linkage of the companions of the Holy Prophet, and those who are not gone through in detail from Bukhari and Muslim what were the link of the companions to Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they consider this kind of love to Holy Prophet as shirk. This kind of love and reference to Holy Prophet they consider as if, maazallah, this is a part of shirk. They have never studied Bukhari and Muslim in detail. And if some people have studied, why they don't bring these chapters of Bukhari and Muslim before the Ummah? Why they don't teach these lessons of the companions? Why they don't unveil these chapters of the lives of Abu Bakr, Umar and Usman and Ali and the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet, so that the Ummah today, the Ummah which is lost, the Ummah which is unaware of the destination, they should truly become aware of the real destination. They should come in a position to judge really their linkage with Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, link of love and reverence. They should go back in the times of Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman or Ali. My dear brothers and sisters and my dear sons and daughters, try to look into the mirror of lives of Abu Bakr, Umar and Usman and Ali. Light into the mirrors of their seerah, of their practices, of their conduct in day and night. See how they used to deal with Holy Prophet, how they used to love Holy Prophet, how they used to revere and respect Holy Prophet, how were they connected to Holy Prophet, how Holy Prophet was in their lives, how Holy Prophet was in their thoughts, how Holy Prophet was in their heart. In order to restore the balance, we are required positively to restore the link in the same way which was between Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman, Ali and Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Come back to that link which is lost. Come back to that relationship which has gone away, which has been forgotten. And those lessons which are forgotten lessons and you normally don't hear in the khutbahs of Jummah. You don't listen about these lessons in the teachings of ulama. Why these teachings have been forgotten? Why they are not aware of these teachings? Why we are disconnected? Why we are become away from love of Holy Prophet, from affection of Holy Prophet, from respect and reverence of Holy Prophet? We need this nature of connection with Holy Prophet to restore the balance in this world, balance of Iman. Unless we come back to the practice of Abu Bakr, we come back to the practice of Umar, we come back to the practice of Usman and Ali, and we come back to the practice of thousands of companions, how they used to deal with Holy Prophet, we won't be able to restore the balance of ummah today. Balance of ummah, balance of our iman, and balance of our spiritual life rests in true going back, returning to the love of Holy Prophet, returning to the reverence of Holy Prophet, returning to submission and obedience to Holy Prophet, and returning to support of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in letter and spirit. I am closing my words, message which Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given. Again, this is hadith muttafaq alayh. I have not quoted a single hadith which is not muttafaq alayh, which is not in Bukhari and Muslim, although this is not necessary. Chains should be correct and right and reliable. Books are not necessary. But since Bukhari and Muslim possess the highest position, I have quoted everything which has been unanimously narrated and reported in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim at the same time. Last hadith reported by Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Wallazi nafsu Muhammadin biyadihi, la ya'tiyanna ala ahdikum yawmun." Now, my dear daughters and sisters, this is the last message of Holy Prophet and message for you. I congratulate our all brothers of Minhajul Quran, organizers of this event, who provided me a chance, provided you a chance to understand this secret of Islam, secret of Iman. Look into these words of Holy Prophet. This is a prophetic message to you, reported by Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And in this hadith, Holy Prophet is talking about you. Congratulations. He didn't forget us. Although Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman and Ali and the companions, Ahlul Bayt, was always in his company in front of us. We were never there in his days. But wallah, by God, in spite of the fact we were not there in his days, but he is here in our days. Wallah, we were not there in his days, but wallah, he is here in our days. He has never missed us. He has never been absent. His spirit has never been absent. His love has never been absent. His attention has never been absent. His passion has never been absent. His compassion has never been absent. His mercy has never been absent. His love for us has never been absent. His attention to us has never been absent. He has been continuously watching us and watching you. And every single person of his ummah, what he has said, he says, "Qala qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam." Again, the hadith is muttafaq alayh in Bukhari, Muslim. "Wallazi nafsu Muhammadin biyadihi, la ya'tiyanna ala ahadakim yawmun, wala yarani, thumma la an yarani, ahabbu ilayya min ahlihi wa malihi ma'ahum." This is the hadith, muttafaq alayh, and the words of Muslim. Holy Prophet said, Allah's Messenger said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "By the one, by the Lord in whose hands is my soul, soul of Muhammad." He says, a time will come, and that time has come. This is the time which Holy Prophet pointed at. This is our time, when he was pointed at this time. He said, a time will come in future when you will not be able to see me. Are your apparent eyes able to see him? Tell me, are these bodily eyes able to see him? But he is seeing us. Our beloved is seeing us. And if you have eyes of heart, then they will also start seeing him. And I know there are people who see him 24 hours a day. I know. And I know there are people in his ummah that Holy Prophet's beauty and his face is never behind the curtain in front of their eyes.
they see him. He said, a time will come, the people won't be able to see me apparently, but to see me, it would be dearer, seeing me would be dearer to them than his family, their lives, their property, and everything of their life. They will like to see me. Even everything has to be spent and everything has to be sold out. But they will love to see me. So what we have to do through this seminar, through this conference, I congratulate brothers and sisters who have worked hard for this event, that Holy Prophet ﷺ says that a time would be dearer to them, that people will like that they should spend everything of their life just for a single glance and glimpse of Holy Prophet ﷺ. So through this sitting today, a new trial, a new effort is to be started to bring Holy Prophet ﷺ back into our hearts, to bring Holy Prophet ﷺ back into our spirits, to bring Holy Prophet ﷺ back into our thoughts, to bring Holy Prophet ﷺ back into our actions, to bring him back into our lives, to bring him back into our desires, to bring him back into our longings, and bring him back into our day-to-day life. Holy Prophet ﷺ said, it is in Sahih Muslim, فقال من أشد أمتي لي حبا ناس يكونون بعدي. All these ahadith, Holy Prophet talked about you. He talked about us. He is not talking about the companions Abu Bakr, Umar and Usman and Ali. In these ahadith, end of my speech, my lecture, he is talking about us, about you. أشد أمتي لي حبا ناس يكونون بعدي يود أحدهم لو رآني بأهله وماله. Allah's Messenger said, among my ummah, a time will come, the most intensely in love with me. There would be some people who will come after me. They won't be in my present time. They won't be able to see me with their bodily eyes. But every one of them in future times, later times, would dearly wish that he could purchase the sight of me, even on behalf of his family and wealth. Everything is gone. يَوَدُّ أَحَدُكُمْ لَوْ رَآنِي بِأَهْلِهِ وَمَالِهِ. The people will come that he will wish if he had to sell out his family, sell out his parents, sell out his belonging. He will like to sell out everything just for a single glimpse of my beauty. You tell me, do you wish like this or not? Can you raise your hands? Who wish like that? If everything is to be sold out just for a single glimpse of the beauty of shining face of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I would say, Ya Rasulullah, here are your slaves. Ya Rasulullah, here are your servants. Ya Rasulullah, here are your lovers, whom you indicated in Medina that a time will come with apparent eyes they won't be able to have my glimpse, but they would be wishing to sell everything for the sake of one glimpse of beauty of my face. Ya Rasulullah, here are your slaves. They wish the same thing which you mentioned about. Please give a single glimpse of their beautiful face to these people who have traveled, Then Holy Prophet said, Abu Huraira narrates, Inna unasan min ummati yatuna ba'di yawaddu ahaduhum lavishtara ru'yati bi ahlihi wa malihi. Holy Tahir-ul-Qadri hadith, Holy Prophet ﷺ said, there will be people in next centuries and next times, people and nations and people would come in my ummah. They will come after me, and every one of them, every single person of them, charged with my love, charged with only longing that he could purchase even a single sight of me, and he would be ready to give
to forgive his family, his wealth. He would be ready to sacrifice everything of his life, even his parents, his children, his family, everything, just for a single glance of my beautiful face. Are you not ready to get a one glance of beautiful face of Holy Prophet, even at the cost of everything you possess in your life? Tell me, this is the time has come. That's why Holy Prophet said, companions were in front of them. Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman or Ali, and thousands of companions were sitting. But look at Holy Prophet's love for you. This is how we have to restore the balance of Iman. Living in this materialistic world and rolling this materialistic link with the love of Holy Prophet, the link of Holy Prophet. This is how we will restore the balance. Holy Prophet ﷺ said, Inna a'jabal khalqi ilayya imanan laqawmun yakununa min ba'di yajiduna suhafan fiha kitabun yu'minuna bima fiha. O Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman or Ali, he is telling to the companions sitting in his company, you look at me, you see my beauty, you see my miracles, you see that when I raise my finger, the moon is split up. You see when I speak to the stones, they recite my kalima. You see when I order the palm trees, they come and they prostrate in front of me. You see when I order every single item of this world, they come and they run to me for out of their respect and regard. But let me tell another thing. Centuries later, the people in my ummah will come. And Holy Prophet at that time was looking at us and our love and our hearts. He was pointing at us. He said, people will come in my ummah. Their iman, Holy Prophet said, would be remarkable. Their iman would be strange. Their iman would be admirable. He said, how and why? Holy Prophet said, they will come after me. They had not seen me, but they will still love me. And they will like to sell out everything to have a single sight of my face. And they will believe in my book. They will believe in my prophethood. That's why Holy Prophet ﷺ stated the last hadith, Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu ta'ala anhu reports. He said, Holy Prophet said, Vadittu anni laqitu ikhwani. Congratulations. I am ending my talk on this words of congratulations. Holy Prophet said, Vadittu anni laqitu ikhwani. Qala faqala ashabu an-nabiy sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, awalaysa nahnu ikhwanuk? Awalaysa nahnu ikhwanak? Qala antum ashabi, walakin ikhwani allazina amanu bi walam yarawni. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal reported this hadith with Sahih Isnad. Holy Prophet ﷺ said that I would have loved to meet my brethren. I would have loved to meet them. Companions asked, Ya Rasulullah, are we not your brethren? He said, no, you are my companions. You are my companions. Then they asked, Ya Rasulullah, if we are your companions and not brethren, then please tell us, who are your brethren? Holy Prophet said that my brethren or those would be those who will come later in last times and last centuries, and they have believed, they would believe in me, although they have not seen me. They will love me, but they had not seen me. They will follow me, but they had not seen me. They will remain attached to me, but they have not yet seen me. So this is the condition of the ummah today, that you and us, we have not seen Holy Prophet, but we still love him. If we want to become part and parcel of these brethren, Holy Prophet said, Al-Ikhwan, Ikhwani, said my brothers and my beloved people, then we have to love him more than anything of our life. We have to
attach ourselves in letter and spirit, in body and spirit and soul to Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we have to love him, we have to follow him, we have to revere and respect him, and we have to work for him. If we attach ourselves in these 4 directions, by loving him, by obeying and submitting him, by working for him, submitting him, and by respecting and revering him, and by propagating his sunnah and practicing the sunnah in our life, if we attach ourselves in these 4 dimensions, it means we have restored our link and relationship to Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if we have restored this multi-dimensional relationship, it means we have restored the balance of Iman. This is in fact the balance of Iman which we have lost. And this effort of this session was to restore the same balance of faith and bring it back in our lives, which has been lost for certain reason. I pray Almighty Allah may bless us with His special mercy, with His love, with His greetings, and He may enable us with true love of Holy Prophet, submission and obedience to Holy Prophet, to become true supporters of his deen and mission, and to work for peace for the whole mankind, to work for mercy for the whole mankind, to work for the betterment for the whole mankind, because he is the prophet of betterment, he is the prophet of peace, he is the prophet of benevolence, he is the prophet of humanity. We are not here to create differences, we are not here to create any kind of hatred. We are here to collect the whole of mankind under the banner of love, under the banner of compassion. Almighty Allah may help us and make us united again to the love of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that we may work in a better way for his ummah as well as for the whole of mankind, according to the teachings of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa ma alayna illa al-balagh.